Hey, it's just Rob Z. It's January 6th, 2025. I'm still writing 2024 on my videos. So today I wanted to talk about new beginnings. Part of the reason I want to talk about new beginnings is because, yes, we just had a new year, but also because I am trying something new here. It's been on my list to want to create a YouTube channel for quite some time. It's kind of been on everybody's list, hasn't it? I established myself as a thought leader in technology, specifically talking about APIs and creating a better developer experience in terms of documentation, in terms of how to structure those APIs, in terms of how to actually talk to developers. And that's still something I want to talk about. I'm so used to talking about technology, and it actually took me a really long time to build up my confidence in that, which might surprise some people because it's certainly something I enjoy talking about and talk endlessly about if you allow me. I've had a lot of ideas for channels, right? One idea was, let's just do another tech channel. But man, you got so many tech channels out there already. Some who are teaching you how to program, some who are talking about different devices and different like reviews and stuff. What am I going to add to that conversation? I don't think there's much I've got to add. Over the last several years, I've noticed a shift in the industry that is probably was always there, but I didn't fully pay attention to. It's getting harder and harder to want to do thought leadership focused on the kind of technology that people want to pay me to talk about. What interests me these days, and what has always interested me, is in how we can use the tools that we create to improve our lives and the lives of the people around us. And I feel that we have lost the plot on that completely. Artificial intelligence is threatened to take a whole bunch of our jobs. I feel like a lot of artificial intelligence devalues humanity. I feel like a lot of our current society devalues humanity. And I think that's ironic when you consider that the only thing in human society that has any value is human life. All value derives from it. To live in a society in which we seem to value humanity the least, it's a contradiction that we need to figure out how to solve for. These industries will tell you that they do care about their customers, that they do care about trying to help people, but when you actually look at their actions, it's pretty clear they're only caring about their bottom line. And I see a lot of folks on YouTube and elsewhere talking about this, but that's all I really see them do. I see them surface the problems. There's a lot of YouTube channels that I really love to watch, that I feel explain what's happening in the world in a very good way, better than I possibly could, certainly better than I'm doing here. But they always end either just kind of with, and that's the problem, or if they ever offer any kind of potential path toward a solution, it always involves policy. It always involves writing to your congressperson. It always involves like getting involved in politics. I turned 50 this year. I've done all of that. It hasn't worked. Any progress we've seen has been incremental. And I really truly believe that things are getting worse because we keep turning our attention to a group of people who have zero intention of actually trying to help us. The problem is, at least from my perspective, is that we're focused in the wrong area. We're focused on these centralized things, big companies, big countries, like what the governments want you to have, what the corporate leaders want you to know, and what they want you to follow, and what even like religious leaders want you to have. These power structures exist exclusively to extract value from us to keep those people who are in power, and for them to improve their own lives to the expense of everyone around them. I've been wanting to do this for a while. I mean, as I said, it's January 6th. I probably should have done this and had every intention of doing it on January 1st, but some things have happened. It's hard to get optimistic about a new year and new beginnings when the very first day of the year carried the news of 2 domestic terrorist attacks carried out by military veterans, U.S. military veterans. This isn't the place to talk about that yet. We're probably going to at some point because it's sort of accelerated my desire to start this channel. YouTube is crammed full of content, people who are absolutely vying for your attention, and it's actually a lot of fun. I'm the father of a teenage son. I have watched him grow up with YouTube. I don't want to say I've monitored what he's watched, but I've, watched what he's watched just to understand what kind of messages are being sent to him and to mitigate those messages if they disagree with our particular cultural beliefs, which are pretty straightforward and simple. And as a result, like, I've found that I'm drawn more to YouTube as a channel both for entertainment and education myself. I've really enjoyed learning a lot about history and the world and all the stuff that, frankly, either we glossed over in school or they just flat didn't teach us. But more importantly, I've really gotten into the science and maker side. My original plan was to become a mechanical engineer. And when I ran up against calculus for the first time, that sort of put a halt on that. Which is kind of a shame, because what I've learned by watching YouTube and watching a lot of these maker channels is you don't really need to have that degree to be an engineer. You don't have to have all of that knowledge. You just have to be willing to try things and learn from others and learn from yourself and make mistakes and then learn from your mistakes. But I was taught a very rigid way of how you're supposed to learn, how to do it correctly if you want to get a job. Not just make things, not just improve the world, but get a job. I think that kind of mentality, that ideology, is what has taken over so many of us, and a lot of folks who went through college and went through that educational system. I think we're coming out on the other end feeling kind of lost. I keep thinking about a particular song by Paul Simon called American Tune. And the second verse starts, I don't know a soul that's not been battered. I don't know a friend who feels at ease. I don't know a dream that's not been shattered and driven to its knees. I have never more in my life felt those lyrics than I do now. When I go out in the world, I see a lot of people who are just unhappy and uncertain, and their lives are unstable. I talk to my friends, I talk to my peers, I talk to folks online, I go to conferences. Every conversation has this undercurrent of tension and fear and uncertainty. I'm turning 50 in February. I can't argue that this isn't all part of an ongoing midlife crisis. It absolutely is. I think there's benefit in talking about that and being transparent about that. And the people around me are tired of listening to me jabber on about this. I need to put some of these thoughts and ideas out there in the world to find the others, but to also, test them against other people's experiences and to have respectful and healthy conversations about it in order to improve all of our situations. So as I look at all the content that's on YouTube and I look at all the noise that gets generated, I was at first a little hesitant. I actually remain hesitant to want to add to that noise. I mean, let's be straight here. It's just another white middle-aged dude who's trying to spew his ideas at you, right? Is that really what the world needs? I mean, it adds to the noise, but I don't just want to add to the noise. I actually want to find solutions. And I do believe that there are a lot of non-violent solutions that we can do starting right now to start fixing a lot of the problems that everybody knows they're seeing, everybody sees, everybody's talking about. I can tell you off the bat that the most immediate solution that I know for all of these things is to build community, and that's a big part of what this is. Timothy Leary very famously said, in addition to turn on, tune in, and drop out, that we should go out and find the others. That to me is the more important version of what he said. When he says find the others, that means you need to build community so that you can find the people who agree with you and are willing to work with you to build a better world. And when we say build a better world, I want to be very clear. I am 100% in favor of peace. Peace is not the absence of conflict. There's always going to be some conflict. Nor is it precisely the absence of violence. It's more the absence of unnecessary violence. I can't control a hurricane. So there will always be some conflict and some violence that occurs to any community when a natural disaster like that happens. But if you're genuinely concerned about building survival skills, cooperation and community has always been proven to be the best survival strategy in nature, in business, in day-to-day living. That's always been true. In fact, it's part of the reason why we're so encouraged to come together in tribes, in cities, as civilization. We're encouraged to come together and work together because we know that we're stronger as a group than we are as individuals. And I feel that a lot of that has been hacked and co-opted by those seeking power and power structures. Thus, the first solution is for us to start taking that back, to find the others, to build our communities both online, but more importantly, around us. I'm really looking forward to building community here with you on this channel. I'm really hoping that we get some distance on this. Not all of these videos are going to be like this and kind of dour and like ideological, although I suspect that quite a few of them will be at first. I do intend to share my thoughts and my ideas because I got to get them out. I got to get them out of my head, and I got to get them out there because otherwise they're not going to do any good. And I want to find the others throughout the world who feel the same way, who are looking for the same solutions, and who are willing to put some of these solutions into place and to impact their worlds locally. I love online community. I remain a believer in the ideas of social media and the power of the network. I have learned so much more than I ever learned in my 5 years. Yes, 5 years in college. I have met people I never would have been able to engage with had we not met online. I met my wife online. We've been married now for more than 20 years. Every job I've ever had has been network and internet related. I've been programming since I was 10 years old. Actually, I've been programming since a little before I was 10 years old. I ran a BBS when I was in high school, back down in Orange County. I mean, I am an inveterate nerd. I got into this technology industry not because I wanted to get rich and make a bunch of money. I got into it because I still genuinely believe that technology can improve the lives of people if we let it. I got led down a path that was more focused on profit than it was people. As I look on my life and I go through this midlife crisis, I see that as my greatest failing. I want to fix that. I intend to spend the rest of my life working toward fixing that. And it starts with building community. I'm trying to build it here so I can get more people to help. I'm hoping that more people around me where I live here in the Bay Area. I'm hoping a lot more folks will see that, but more importantly, I'm hoping the folks in and around Concord, California where I live. That's where I really need to get to and where I need to focus. But to do that, I need to build some confidence in terms of building community. This is not the first time I've done this kind of stuff. I've always done it for technical communities. I've always done it for like the developer community, and I've always done it on the behalf of corporations. I've never really done it for myself. And this is the first time where I'm doing that. It's scary as hell. And I need to build up some confidence so I can do it well. And it starts here, and it starts with you. So, if you stumbled upon this video, hey, I'm glad. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe so you can see what else is going to be coming down the pipe. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear what's going on with you and in your world and how you're trying to change the world and how maybe these new beginnings, if we got to turn away from the old, we've been living in the past for too long. We need to turn over everything and start thinking about the future. Respect our traditions, but figure out a path forward to peace. The conditions for peace are very simple. There's 3 conditions for peace. Everybody around you should be well-fed, well-loved, and well-rested according to your cultural guidelines. We need to work toward that kind of a world. I can't do it on YouTube alone. I can do it to the people within my reach. Some of you are within my reach. You are the others, and I want you here. And I'm hoping that I'll inspire you to maybe take some of this and do this work locally in your communities, because when all of the communities are like this, when everybody gets involved, even if we're not directly connected, we can create a cultural moment that changes everybody's point of view on how we should interact with one another. We need to get this world back to a point, especially this country and our individual communities. We got to get back to a point where we're putting the value of humanity above the value of everything else. It's pretty heavy for a first video, isn't it? Well, stick around. Maybe I'll lighten up in the future. See you next time.